Opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
And hello and welcome everyone to Scarefest Radio. Those of you watching via your various social media outlets or at scarefestradio.com, if you're watching the video, you can see that I spent like 15 minutes today making a brand new introductory video, cued to the music. I am just a media god. Small g, but a media god. I want to welcome everybody to Scarefest Radio tonight. Incidentally, I'm watching my phone. It was hinted that I might have a celebrity announcement tonight, but you know how things work at Scarefest Radio. My guest tonight, we have the Paranormal panel. Now, let me tell you, okay, this is the extreme. Good Lord, what the hell is your all's full name? I don't have the banner pulled up for me to read it. Here it is. Extreme Paranormal Encounter Response Team. We'll be getting to that in just a moment. But I do want to warn everybody, okay, the last time we had this many people dialed in to Scarefest Radio at one time was the infamous episode where Ken Boggle and Lisa Schnurr were hosting, and there was a bunch of horror people, including Ari Lehman, and I don't remember who it was. Ken Boggle still talks about that show, about being one of the worst experiences of his life. So I want to throw that out there. But everything so far is working. We do have Steve Coles and Stacy Horton are on video with us. You'll be seeing them just any moment. Michelle Wagner, Tom Conwell, Tim Conwell, and Jack Kenna are all with us tonight via the phone line.
Lord help us.
Yeah, they're with us in spirit.
Yeah, we're here in spirit.
Now, one reminder I do want to give everybody is that Scarefest will be at the Lexington Pride Convention tomorrow. So if you're in the Lexington area, make sure you look up their booth. I'm just willing to bet it's somewhere around Old Hookers. I don't know that for a fact, but just knowing the people, look them up. Now, I have a story to tell on Lexington Pride before we get into the show. I think I told this last year, but the cutest thing, it was either last year or the year before, a farmer he confused Lexington Pride as being part of Kentucky Proud. Kentucky Proud being the agricultural program that pushes fresh vegetables on people. Lexington Pride being the LGBT welcome home parade and festival and everything. He shows up with a float. And they welcomed him with open arms, and he said it was the best time he'd ever had in his life. And I'll bet you he's there this year. I bet you he's there again. So I just wanted to share that. It is a big event in Lexington, and if you're going to be in the Lexington area, you should stop by and say hello to all the Scarefest people. So now getting into it, the Extreme Paranormal team here, just to give you a little background on them. Here's from their website. Meet the Paranormal Panel. The panel is made up of experts in the fields of paranormal research, psychic abilities, ufology, and cryptozoology. So I'll start with you, Steve. So my understanding is this team was formed just in case the ghost of Bigfoot was ever abducted by aliens.
That's right, and assisted by Mothman.
Okay. I just wanted to clear that up so that the listeners and viewers know exactly what we're talking about tonight.
Can never be too safe.
I'm going to say that this is the only team that I'm aware of. Now, a lot of teams will have people that, well, I think most of us in the paranormal have an interest in ufology or cryptozoology or whatever. But now I will say you're the only team that puts that out front as far as that being part of your expertise. When you do a convention like the Scarefest, for example, first of all, I was wondering which way do the questions trend?
Well, they trend in all directions. I mean, when we go to Scarefest, we usually have our little separate stations. So I'll have my SWAT detective station there, and Tom Conwell will have the ufology.
Michelle will have her psychic.
Yep, and Stacy and Stacy, Tim, and Jack will all have the paranormal stuff, and a lot of times Tim will also help his dad with the ufology stuff as well. So yeah, that's how we kind of, if somebody asks a question somewhere, just that way.
Yeah, they're in that realm.
I get that when you're out on the convention floor. I understand that. Yeah, because if somebody walks up to my booth and asks where the bathroom is, okay, yeah. But I meant when you're doing the panel. When you're doing the panel. I mean, you've got it on your website that you all come in as the panel. So I'm thinking, I want to know who shows up in the room. I mean, is it all over the board, also in the room? Or do people, because it's, paranormal is generally associated with ghostology. I was just wondering if it trended that way when you're in the panel as a group.
It generally does trend that way, but, we still have a few people that'll ask questions about crypto. We have a few people that ask, like the last one we did, I think there was more ghost stuff, but then towards the end of it, it kind of leaned towards the ufology. Really, crypto is a little part of it, but that's okay because we like to, it depends on, it's really when we do these things, it's about what the audience wants. It's not about us. It's about what the audience wants. So if they have a predominantly crypto crew, they'll ask questions about crypto. If they have a predominantly ufology crew, they'll ask questions about that. So it's what the audience wants, not necessarily how we plan it. They're kind of off the cuff, a lot of these paranormal panels, which makes it really a unique thing. And we want to hear the people's experiences, not necessarily about us.
Okay.
And have them ask us questions.
Now we're gonna take it some different directions here. Okay, because I've talked to Steve several times about Bigfoot and cryptozoology, and I know his general belief structure about Bigfoot. Now, Michelle, I'm bringing you into this. One of the common theories about Bigfoot, the reason that we can't get a clear picture of him, the reason we can't find a dead body, the reason he's not like stuffed and hung in the Smithsonian is because he is either a trans-dimensional being or worse. I mean, I've had people say that he's some type of demon and everything. As a psychic, being on a team around Steve Coles and probably followed him through the woods before it's over with, what is your opinion on Bigfoot?
Well, believe it or not, I'm going to be going on my first Bigfoot expedition with Steve and his team. Is it next year in Ohio, Steve? Is that the place where we're going?
Pennsylvania.
Okay, Pennsylvania.
A.K.A. Pennsyltucky.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I always told the guys, listen, when I go out to go and do Bigfoot with you guys, I can tune into spirits, hauntings, people, loved ones from their past lives. But please don't ask me to tune into Bigfoot because I really don't want to meet him. So in my personal experience, does it exist? Yes, absolutely. I do believe, and especially being around Steve and learning a lot about cryptozoology and Bigfoot. I don't really know if it is. I don't know if I believe that it has something to do with coming from a different world. I just think that if you think so many people out there in the world are hunting or after something, wouldn't you run? Wouldn't you throw things to protect yourself? There's a lot of people that believe in it and a lot of people that don't. I do believe that he does, she, families of them do exist. There's too much evidence, just like in the paranormal world and the psychic world, that these things do exist. Did that help, Wes?
That helped. I was really helped. Because, see, if I was a psychic in your particular position, it's one of the, I'd have to peer through I'd have to peer through the looking glass. I'd have to peek. I'd have.
Yes, exactly.
I'd have to do it. Now, jumping around a little more. Now, Mr. Tom Conwell was on my other TV show just earlier this week. Now, I want to throw this over. Tim Conwell, your father has talked me into soaking Nerf balls in gasoline, and now no one will invite me to their house for 4th of July.
I don't want to know what's going on with that.
Let's explain it as, actually it wasn't gasoline, it was alcohol.
Ah!
Oh, that's so much safer.
Well, there's always plenty of alcohol around here.
Anyway,
What a good waste of alcohol. I mean, come on, you should be drinking that stuff. What the hell?
That's right.
But yeah, I found it interesting that as he described various types of UFOs, everything else was fairly straightforward. When he got to the round ones, that the glowing round ones, he described them, everyone, as looking like a Nerf ball. Of all things to pull out, not a basketball, not just, a Nerf ball soaked in alcohol, set on fire. And now I am so excited about trying that. But even my wife says that I'm not allowed around anything like that this weekend. Now, everybody, we're bouncing around a lot, but I want to get in what everybody's particular contribution to the extreme paranormal response group is. Stacy, I'm going to start with you. We're going to leave Steve out. He's a cryptozoologist. What's he going to do? Okay, Stacy, let's start with you. Explain to everybody your particular area of authority.
My authority. Well, one of the co-founders, Steve and I co-founded the team back in 2013. My particular expertise with the team is more paranormal geared and psychic geared. I got interested in doing the paranormal prior actually to this team being formed, 3 or 4 years prior to that. Based on, if anybody's seen the Paranormal Survivor episode that I was in, it was season 3, episode 9, that talks about why I got into the paranormal, and it actually has to do with a precognitive dream about the death of a loved one that I had. So that's kind of what sparked my interest in the paranormal and trying to figure out psychic abilities and what it meant to be an empath and what it meant to be psychic and all the wrapped up with being able to communicate with people who were departed.
So, just to clarify, so you're kind of, it sounds to me like you're kind of in the same area of the paranormal right now that I am, where you are exploring your psychic side, for lack of a better way to put it. Is that a fair way to put it?
I think exploring is something that I'll always do, but I've got a better handle on it now than what I did when I first started. I think it was 6 years ago.
2011.
2011, yeah. Okay, so 7 years ago. I don't know. My math is awful.
Don't ever give her a checkbook.
But yes, no, don't do that. We're not going to go there. But yeah, so that's kind of more my expertise, and I'm always going to be learning. And I've talked with Michelle and Jack and even Steve and Tim, who all have their own, feelings and whatnot as far as psychic abilities and all of that.
We're going to ask every damn one of them. Because this is a mishmash. This is an interesting mix of people. I'm going to jump over now to Tom Conwell. Tom Conwell is the staff ufologist, if you will. Now, Tom, I know what your interests. I know what you write books about. How do you play into the extreme paranormal encounter reaction team?
Response?
It's a mouthful, and it's Steve's fault.
Okay. How I fit in. First of all, I'm also a paranormal investigator. That's how I started in the paranormal stuff, and I have a background in electronics and physics, and I like to use that kind of knowledge and watching electronic instruments operate and trying to draw some conclusions based on that. So anyhow, I like to look at the electronic portion and look into that and look into why, other reasons why the electronics could be acting the way it does. And then I also got into ufology, and I was able to do both. Unfortunately, I got sick about a year and a half ago, and I sort of got away from the paranormal stuff because I didn't want to put myself out in a position where I was weakened and there was spirit activity. But that's another story. I'm feeling a lot better now.
Well,
so
hey,
that's my story.
Tom, I tell people not to go on a paranormal investigation if they have a head cold. I don't
Exactly.
think that's where you want to put yourself out there. Going down my list here. Now, Tim Conwell, not to be confused with Tom Conwell, especially on Facebook Messenger, as I did just like a week ago. Now, Tim,
That was a good conversation.
Hey, and the conversation isn't over yet. I got to look into the concept we were discussing just a little bit more. And yes, we're going to pursue that avenue of thought. Now, Tim, what do you bring to the crew?
I'm a huge paranormal investigator, but I do have abilities as an empath and a sensitive. So I have that, that pop in when I need it to pop in when I push it. But I try to be a huge skeptic on the side because of, I like to debunk certain things, and with my father describing certain things and his background stuff, it kind of like a little bit blended on me, so the skeptic side comes in a lot. So I have a small little range of certain things come in.
I don't have any problem processing that because that's a lot. I call myself a pseudo psychic because I have certain gifts, but at the same time, when I go into a location, something has to just hit me upside the freaking head for me to really accept the whole emotional, the empath part of it. So yeah. And for the record, I think talking to paranormal investigators and psychics, I think a whole bunch of them are just flat out wrong. Now, new to the conversation, Jack Kenna, who has been mysteriously quiet in the background from what I can tell. Now, Jack, I'm going to give him kudos because he and I have something very, very special in common. We like to drink. We like to drink and talk paranormal.
We did a lot of that last year, didn't we?
Yes, and the conversations were deep. We were talking paranormal theory and electronic whatchamacallits and blinky lights and all this stuff.
Wes, they were so deep we got the bends coming up.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, Mr. Kenna, tell everyone what you bring to the crew.
A warm body. I'm still trying to figure it out. What do I bring to their crew? Well, they adopted me off the street just like my other team did. So I got that, always got that going for me. everybody feels sorry for me. Like, why don't you be part of our team? Be on our team. No, I'll say this much. I think this paranormal panel stuff. When Stacey asked me to be on their team and stuff, and she's telling me, oh, we had this one and that one, and UFOs, and Steve is the Bigfoot guy too, and blah blah blah. And we were talking about we want to do more stuff, and let's do stuff. I said, well, why don't you have like a lecture? You've got all these expertise. Why don't you start holding lectures here and there? You've got a bunch. It's not just ghosts and stuff like that. It's not just paranormal investigators. That's just that. I mean, as far as that goes, I said it'll be kind of unique. Let's, create some kind of group or something. And she goes, hey, yeah, we could have like a panel. I said, yeah, great, paranormal panel. There you go. So
and then we were born.
And then we were born. So I guess I brought that.
You did.
Helped bring that. That was a brainstorm thing. So.
Okay, well, okay, Jack. Somebody has to go get the coffee.
Yeah, that's what they have me do. See, this is what I do when I'm on the panel. I give the introductions, then I go get coffee for people.
Okay, now I've talked to you enough to know that you know your stuff when you're talking about paranormal theory, and so let's break it down here in a way that everybody can understand. Okay, we've talked to 2 or 3 empaths so far. One full-blown psychic still waiting in the wings. Where do you fall on people's ability to do what they say they can do?
Oh, you mean regarding the team, or just in general? I have my own psychic abilities too. Okay. I don't talk about them much, but I do have them. Michelle is much better than I am, but I what I do with what I have, I kind of stick to using it for the investigations I do and stuff like that. So I only use it when I kind of need to, so I probably don't practice with it as much as I should. Mm-hmm. But, I also have the other technical side of stuff. So, I work for the Department of the Army. I worked in there for 30 some odd years now, and it'll be 35 years next June. And I've been kind of connected to this stuff all my life. My mother was a big influence on me really getting an interest in the paranormal. So, yeah, like I said, I've been around it for a long time. We've been doing with my other team, Spirits, we've been doing some really hard investigating for the last 9 years. So, we do a ton of stuff. But these guys, they do a ton of stuff too, and they've just got a wider expertise on everything. And I will say this, it was Steve who let me know I really did have a Bigfoot experience at one time. And that was back in my 20s. And I won't get into the whole thing, but I had seen something while I was out fishing, and Steve goes, where did you see this and when? And I told him all that, and he goes, oh, you saw, what'd you say you see? This Kinderhook creature, right?
Kinderhook creature.
Yeah. And I knew it wasn't a bear. I knew it stood up on 2 legs, and it was like brown and hairy, and it walked off into the woods on the other side of the river. Thank God. But you
needed Steve Coles to tell you that was a Bigfoot.
After that many years, I was like 20 at the time, or 20 in my 20s at the time. I'm 55 now. I mean, you wonder, is like, even when you see it, it's like, did I really just see that? What did I really see? You questioned yourself.
I do understand that whole concept. And
I never talked to anybody about it all those years.
I've seen, in my ghost hunting, I have seen one full body apparition, and dumbass me walked past the son of a bitch. Just walked past it, and then
just say hi as you walk by, at least.
No, it was. Hey, how you doing? It was like I'm walking down the hallway. Oh, look, there's a ghost. Just kept right on trucking, and I walked a solid 5 foot before it hit me. You dumbass! That's what you're looking for. So yeah,
It's true though. It's not always recognizable at the time. Your brain just doesn't think that way all the time. So
your brain just goes.
To rationalize it too.
If it looks like if it looks like a person, you really just don't connect. It's just there's a person. Well, wait a minute, they shouldn't even be there. It takes a second to process. So. Gets crazy. I know what you're talking about, Wes. I've been there. We've all been there. I think, or most of us has been there. I see more shadow figures and more apparitions than I care to think about sometimes.
You walk by and go, how's it going?
Yeah. And a Bigfoot. But, did I really see that? And he's like, yes, you saw it. Believe me, you saw it. I'm like, I don't know. So, yeah, we've had a lot of experience. I've seen similar things what Tom talks about, the UFOs. When we used to go up to, we used to have a bunch of us guys at work used to have a fishing camp up in the boonies of Quebec. You had to fly in by float plane to get there. And we saw, pardon my French, shit in the skies you wouldn't believe up there at times. And it's like, what the hell is that? It's not a satellite. It's not a whatever. You don't know what it is. It's a UFO, right? Unidentified flying object. So, we've seen some weird stuff over the years, and sometimes stuff seems attracted to me. I can't figure that out. But I had a good psychic friend of mine, not Michelle, but somebody else told me I was touched one time, and that's why things happen to me. I said, well, I know I'm crazy, but why do these things keep happening to me? They go, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
okay. I got to do a commercial break. There are people that pay me on this show, believe it or not. Everybody, you're watching Scarefest Radio, you're listening to Scarefest Radio, however the hell you're tuning in. We'll be right back. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. And welcome back to Scarefest Radio. As you can hear tonight, I am herding cats, but so far it's going really, really well. And I'm a little off here. I'm trying to figure out how to share the stupid Periscope thing. It didn't pop up on my timeline. Anyway, okay, we're going to move on now to Michelle Wagner. Now, of course, you remember Michelle. She was on the Scarefest Radio show not that long ago. But now, Michelle, as the group's official full-blown resident psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now here's the thing. Now I'm going to ask you this, and maybe I should be asking everybody else, but I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
I have seen too many cooks, you might say, in the psychic field. When you go into a location, I have seen good psychics that I've worked with, psychics that I trust, get around other people with gifts. And whether it's a radio interference thing or whether it's just a clash of person, I have watched their abilities go to shit in like 5 minutes. Does working with people with their own empathic abilities, have you noticed that creating any problems for you, or do you just soldier on and herd the sheep and go on?
Well, working with the team, Stacy, Steve, Jack, Tom and Tim, just like everybody said, they all have their own abilities, whether it's an empath or a sensitive, psychic abilities, like Jack was saying. In our team dynamic, our energy works great because we're familiar with everybody's energy. But if you do go into a situation where, you might be working with 3 other psychics, and that might be instead of a private investigation or an event, can you feel the energy, the energy difference? Absolutely. The energy difference, the energy is more tense. Everybody's trying into in the psychic world, you know, we've been promoting for many years now para-unity, you know, where everybody helps each other. And sometimes in the psychic world, it's not so much that way. So
it's not that way in the paranormal world. It's not that way in the paranormal world.
What I've seen so far, you know, it has gotten better, you know, through the years. But if you go into, for example, I love doing all different types of events. But if you put me in a psychic fair versus a paranormal event, and Stacy can verify this for me, a psychic event, it's like the energy is like constantly coming at you. It's like a competition. So when you're doing it, I can imagine if you're doing it on an investigation and there's 3 or 4 full-blown psychics that are not used to working it with each other, oh, absolutely. They're going to be bouncing off of each other, and I feel it will diminish, which is why our team is so unique, because we do have so many people with a lot of abilities that, you know, don't come out and say, hey, I'm a psychic, hey, I'm a sensitive. You know, we've been working together for, you know, a while now, and, you know, it takes getting used to somebody's energy, knowing what they're feeling, and it's kind of like we all look at each other now, and it's like, did that just happen? Did you feel that too, or did you feel that? And we don't kind of really give each other more than that. But in working with, you know, other psychics that you're not used to working to, our team, when we get together, our energy, you know, it emphasizes, it actually helps. And I say that a lot with psychics, or people with abilities. When you get the right group of people around and they're all there for a common purpose, I feel sometimes it intensifies. But if you do get somebody who's more competitive or nervous or, you know, intimidated, absolutely, I feel like it can diminish your gifts because you're too worried about something else. Does that make sense, Wes?
It does. I know that psychics tend to like to work with me because I'm just such a swell guy. No, it's because everybody just to get a little inside baseball. Some people are considered psychic batteries. Our energy flows one direction. Other people's energy flows a different direction. Psychics, you know, as really strong psychics, they tend to take in more energy than they put out. For whatever reason, my energy goes the other way.
So does mine.
And psychics have told me they like working with me because I'm like a beacon. In other words, I clear out the airwaves for them. That being said, I have watched psychics work together. And I mean, these are people that have worked together on multiple occasions. But I can watch the one with the wrong kind of energy just totally mess up the person that I would trust with my spiritual life under different circumstances. Now let's talk about. Since you brought it up, you might be right. Paranormal Unity has quieted down a little bit because I don't think there are quite as many trolls as there used to be in the paranormal field. But I'm going to tell you, I have never seen drama like I've seen at psychic fairs. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
if these people's table is off center 5 inches, it messes up their karma or some bullshit like that. And but
you messed up my feng shui.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That swing thing there. Yeah.
I can, but just like I do this thing called bad tarot card readings, and it's not that they're bad tarot card readings. It's just that I don't take myself very seriously, and this is how I do it. You know, I do them kind of like I do everything else. And the thing is, I don't say I don't have any talent, but I'm not saying I don't have a gift. But I get $5, and I'm a gateway drug for tarot card readers. If you enjoy mine, maybe you'll go to a real tarot card reader. But when I go to a convention, if it's a psychic convention, guess who's the ones complaining about the guy with the sign that says, hey, bad tarot card readings? So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right. So we went around the board. Now we're back to our Scarefest favorite, Mr. Steve Coles.
Oh, I know Wes.
Now, in the general purpose. Now, actually, I know part of this answer, but you have to share it with the viewers and listeners. What does Steve Coles bring to the Extreme Paranormal Encounter Response Team.
I know. It's a pork chop necklace.
Well, that's on the crypto side. I actually have a separate team for the Bigfoot stuff. When I go out with expert, I am their demonologist. And that's been my field in the paranormal side of things, is demonology. I don't like bullies. So that's why I kind of took up that mantle. So.
That's not something that a ton of people know either, especially for knowing you for Bigfoot and crypto. No. They don't really know that unless they get to talk to you. So.
And
exactly.
And, you know, I've performed the rite several times, and when the occasion was the right time, and I would say the majority of the time we've had great results. I've been had demonic residue come home with me afterwards, you know, because when I do these things, you know, I end up with some kind of illness or
affliction of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had infections, boils, Bell's palsy,
which Chip Coffee kind of pulled that out on you.
That was kind of really cool, because we did a reading with Chip Coffee. I'm going to say 2015.
He came up to Woodstock, and we went to one of his galleries.
And he got up there and says, somebody's trying to reach somebody here, and I'm getting Bell's palsy, a facial paralysis, and I had just got over it. I was like, oh, that'd be me. So that was kind of really, that speaks to his testament.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember doing a deliverance to this, you know, really afflicted woman in Niagara Falls. And, you know, it was very successful. She's regained her life, and we keep in contact her every so often. And last year she said, you know, I forgot to tell you something. You know, the only thing that really happened to me strange or odd was about a couple of weeks after you did the exorcism, he goes, I got Bell's palsy. So she actually got the same affliction I had got, which is really bizarre. But that just speaks to the demonic residue that as a, you know, as a person doing that stuff, I'm the guy who puts myself at risk. I'm the guy who protects the team. If I say it's time to get out, we get out. If I say it's time to go to war, it's time to go to war.
Good, really good answer. And I wanted to bring that out because you and I had talked about it some off camera. So now that I'm here at you as a paranormal panel, I thought that was a great time to bring it up. Now, I know what you're talking about. I've never brought home afflictions, but now I will say, just in my little lightweight clearings that I've done, I remember one that I described it as being sprayed by a skunk. When I hit this thing with what I was doing, I mean, I felt dirty. That is the best way to describe it. Now, I should probably do more to protect myself after the fact. In other words, not bring this shit home with me. But I've had such good luck about the little no ghost zone and all the spirit guides having my back and everything. I kind of take it for granted that, you know, but I know exactly what you're talking about. But knock on wood, there's nothing wood in here.
I know a lot of people after they do things or they sense bad things, they like to burn, you know, white sage, which is fine. That does kind of stymie them a bit, but really what you want to be burning is frankincense and myrrh. That's repugnant to the demonic. So one of the things you want to do is not only white sage yourself when you're done with these things, but frankincense and myrrh, and you know, a good shower afterwards doesn't hurt either.
I recommend people take a good shower, whatever you're doing in the paranormal field, and now, okay, I realize that there's a bazillion soap vendors every time you go to these paranormal conventions, but sea salt bath soap, actual soap with salt in it. Maybe it's just it might be the metaphysical properties of salt about how it's a pure mineral, or it might just be it's good and scrubby. I don't know. But either way, I had too many people recommend that for me, and I do occasionally do that. Well, everybody, we've got one more commercial break, then we're going to be right back, Steve. Hold on to your thought.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more. And we're back with the final segment of Scarefest Radio via your favorite media device. As we jumped to our final commercial break, Steve was opening his mouth to say something that I'm sure was just profound as all get out.
Well, what a lot of people don't know is that holy water is a combination of basically blessed salt and water. And then prayer is said when those are combined. So the salt thing makes a lot of sense to taking a salt bath. You could even put holy salt in your bath water and take a bath there too. That wouldn't hurt either. So, yeah. I
you just taught me something. I did not know there was an actual formula for holy water. I assumed that any water that actually got blessed by somebody that didn't get their credentials from a mail-in, but you know.
Well, holy water basically is exorcised water. I mean, it's like a minor rite of exorcism that's performed on the salt and the water. And that's what makes it holy. Just like baptism. Baptism is actually a minor rite of exorcism.
Yeah,
that's
but
where
see,
you renounce it.
Now that you've told me this, I keep seeing these little bottles of holy water on every vendor's table. And now I'm scared to death that I'm going to be buying bootleg hot holy water. You know,
well, you know, you could always go to Peter Popoff and get the mystical miracle holy oil that he sells or gives away for free.
I'd say you'd probably be fairly safe to get it from Bishop Long too. I mean, definitely he'd be a great source for it.
Actually, I bought one bottle in my life. I will tell you, it came from the Ghost Hunter shop, Patty Starr. And if you screwed me on that $1.98 bottle of water, I'm coming to get you.
Patty would do no such thing. I know she wouldn't.
I can see Chuck filling up gallon jugs in the toilet right now. Anyway.
Right now, as you speak, Coyote Chris somewhere is taking notes.
But for the record, I've only used a little bit. The only time we ever felt the need to use it, because I don't tackle demons. My angels they don't let that happen. But we were at Bobby Mackey's, and one of the guys that was with us, and it wasn't a public, it was a private thing we were doing, but someone who was observing tripped over that goddamn basement floor that goes 20 different directions. And fell in some of that stupid broken glass. And, you know, his thumb, it wasn't bad, but he scratched his hand when he went down. And yes, he's bleeding in Bobby Mackey's. Now, not being the superstitious type, believe it or not, as a ghost hunter, but I'll tell you, the one place on this earth that I don't want to leave blood is Bobby Mackey's. I don't think the place is Hell's Gate or anything else. But there ain't. So I actually rinsed his blood with holy water that came from the Ghost Hunter shop, Patty Starr's former place of business. Now, we blew through this hour pretty good. We've only got like 5 or 10. We got about 10 minutes left because we got started just a little late because Steve Coles wouldn't answer his Skype.
It was really my fault.
What a jerk!
It was Stacy's fault in that she had not got home yet to hold his hand and show him how to turn the computer on.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Stacy. You're the jerk, Stacy. Yeah.
I'm completely computer and technology illiterate, so it had nothing to do with me.
That makes it even worse for Steve. Never mind.
Now one thing I did want to ask. Okay, we've talked a little bit. I think we've covered all the general topics, but now I was wondering, getting back to the cryptozoology and ufology parts of this conversation. Now Michelle said she has not been on an actual Bigfoot hunt with you. She's planning on going on one. Do you, on occasion, Steve, gather some of the team members out to go with you on your little excursions through the woods?
Well, yeah. Stacy's a member of the field team. Scott, Michelle's husband, is.
Yep.
and I know Tim and Tom. That's not necessarily their foray. That's okay. Jack, we're gonna rope him off and get him out in the woods too, and then Michelle and him can flip the coin who's gonna wear the pork chop necklace and run through the woods.
I'll do it. No, I'll just do it. It's okay. I want to do that.
I got all my gear and I'm ready to go, Steve. Just like I said, if I tap into my magical powers and happen to, see a Bigfoot, I might end up running in the other direction, screaming for my life. But
see now, okay, now we're going to go to metaphysical thing here, Michelle. What I want to do, and I've told Steve this before, I want to go on a Bigfoot, not a big long Bigfoot hunt, because after I walk a couple miles, I'm done. That's me for the day. But and hopefully he'll find one that's all downhill. That would help too. Just putting that out there.
Both ways.
Yeah, both ways.
Yeah.
Level.
I can't. Yeah. I can't wait to go. I mean, I am looking forward to it because, like I said, it's part of something that my husband, is part of the team. I'm an honorary member since I haven't gone out there yet, but I do plan on going out, and, I do want to see as part of, this part of the team and also an aspect of, a part of everything that we do and see for myself, just like you said, you're curious and it's something that you want to do. I, like Jack, have had experiences, seeing things in the sky, and then checked, since I've met Tom, different ways to find out if there has been any reports in this, in the sky about a UFO or an unidentified object in the sky, and have learned that, I have possibly seen things too. So this is the only part of, our team's aspect that I have not done yet. I mean, I know about it. I've learned about it from his all of his lectures, which are fantastic, which I can understand why he's a favorite of Scarefest. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And, like I said, I might get a little bit nervous, but, I mean, I deal with apparitions and spirits, and like you, I depend on my spirit guides and my angels to protect me the same way. I'm just looking at it in another direction.
See, this is what surprised me, though, about you saying you weren't going to get all psychic on Bigfoot. Because I'm a douser. I like dowsing rods. And I want to go in the woods with Steve Coles, and I am going to douse him up a Bigfoot. I'm going to...
Yeah, well, you know what? I have them, too. So you just gave me an idea. So you got to make sure you go. And we'll double douse them right out.
No, because I'm going to go out there...
And for all those who haven't seen a Bigfoot, make sure you wear brown pants.
Well, actually, I don't care if I see him or not. I'm just going to let the rods point and go, hey, Steve, over there.
That way, over there.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to jump over now to, we'll go with Tom and Tim first. You can talk over each other for this question. Because it was just alluded to that you all weren't really into Bigfoot. What's the matter? Is that just too damn weird for you?
Well, actually, this is Tom. Until such time as there's concierge service in the woods, I'm not likely to be going there.
Okay, man after my own heart.
And this is Tim. I'm up and open to going out and doing the searching out in the woods. So he knows that I'm ready to go in some way.
So he gets the pork chop necklace.
Yeah.
No. Jack is taking it. He agrees.
I already got mine ready.
Okay,
Stop taking my job from me.
I am going to put a stop to this right now because the pork chop necklace.
And Wes, I've got divining rods too. We'll triangulate that son of a.
Okay, now the divining rods might work. The pork chop necklace that he keeps threatening everybody with, he's bullshit and he knows it because everybody says that Bigfoot likes like apples and what else? And he steals like stuff off the
melons,
apple pie, melons. He's an 8-foot tall groundhog.
That's a good description right there. That's it. You got it.
According to some, he does like Miller Lite.
Yeah, well, he's an omnivore. What do you want from him?
Well, yeah, but
he'll eat anything, drink anything. Doesn't matter.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll put some apples with that pork chop.
I do realize
that would go very nice, actually.
Pork chops and applesauce.
This has become a wonderful cooking show.
Fermented apples. We've talked about that how many times?
Well, maybe we can get that sour apple drink and, get them drunk so it'll be easier to, capture some evidence.
The psychic has covered all the bases.
I keep that for myself.
So, okay, Jack, just to not completely leave you out, we're going to come back around to you now. Now, pretty much same question. How do you feel about hunting Bigfoot?
Well, I told you I saw one, so I don't know what to say.
Yeah, but seeing one is okay. I
do I believe it's out there? Yeah, I mean, I can't say I don't because I had an experience. So that was even before I was investigating anything. So that was just fishing that day. So yeah, I believe it's out there. I mean, there's so much stuff in this world we don't know, we don't understand, we haven't even found yet. Matter of fact, there's watching a new show on the guy's looking for supposedly extinct species, and he's still finding they're still out there. So I mean, I never say no to anything, because until it's proven one way or the other, you just don't know really. I mean, we all know what we believe. We all know what we believe because of what we see or what we hear, right? So for the individual, you have to go with that, your own personal experiences. Will you be able to convince somebody else of it? No, not necessarily. Maybe someday. But most people need to see it to believe it, right? It's the old doubting Thomas thing, right? So that's where we're at.
Okay, now I have a funny feeling. Steve, have you all lost audio?
No.
Okay.
I touched the button to lower the audio a little bit, and it just
he keeps touching things.
Stop touching things, Steve.
We flashed you off the screen because I saw this look of panic. I can't hear anybody and all this stuff. But okay, so you didn't dig it.
I hit the lower the volume, and it ended up increasing the volume to max, and I can't get it to come down. So everything is just booming in my ears right now.
And see, I'm deaf, so it didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I think we've about covered everything. Of course, now I will go ahead and give you all a plug here. The Paranormal Panel appearing at the Scarefest, plus damn near everybody on it's got their own speeches too. So we're not even going to try to list all that. But the Paranormal Panel, check them out at the Scarefest. That's in Lexington, Kentucky. Thescarefest.com for more details. And does the panel have anything else on the docket right now that y'all want to share?
No.
Well, we do have a local event that we're doing at Mechanicville Public Library, and that's going to be July the 18th. So that's going to be our next local thing that we're doing.
Okay.
Right. I would like to say this about the panel too. It's not just your typical we stand there and lecture at you. We get the audience involved. We want to hear their stories. We want to hear from them about what experiences they've had. Let them discuss. Let them talk about it. Because not everybody feels comfortable or telling people about this stuff. But this is one venue where you can tell us anything you want, and nobody's judging you there.
That's right.
And we try to keep it very, very interactive. It's unique in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here, everybody. And for the record, I never did get that magical text message that I was hoping for tonight. So I do not have a celebrity announcement. We did not give away a 3-day pass. You didn't miss it. Nobody's played our game the last couple weeks, so I thought I would just tell you all to, I'm not going to say it, wait for another show. Wait a minute. I just got a text message. Let's see if it's Verizon telling me that I've spent all my money. Because I had 6 telephone calls going on top of video.
Really quick, Wes, happy anniversary to you and Anita.
Yes, married 33 years, 15 happy years. So everybody,
happy anniversary.
This has been. Oh, I heard the best joke last night. We got a minute. I'm going to tell it. This guy is on stage, and he goes, hello, my name's whatever it was, and I'm a widower. And then he looks at his watch. If everything went as planned, I like that joke. Everybody, this has been Scarefest Radio. I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation. Everybody have a great 4th of July weekend. Do not forget Pride Festival down in Lexington, Kentucky. Stop by the Scarefest booth. Lexington Pride is going on this weekend.